Let's talk a little bit about polarity today. So polarity is encapsulated beautifully with the yin-yang symbol. That is that in order to understand something fully, you understand it in what it is and also what it isn't. Comparison and contrast, the black and white, night, day, wrong, right. And this is a beautiful lesson, or a beautiful fact of the cosmos that we get to explore. And it's really the basis of all wisdom here on Earth, the beginning of it. So let's dive in a little bit and talk about this. In working with polarity, this is this idea that there is a positive force and a negative force. It's important or necessary to understand that there is another force that we're talking about as well, and that is a neutral force. That is, in order for polarity to be seen as good and evil, there must be an observer that is aware of both. So at some point, polarity, absolute blackness, absolute light, absolute whiteness, they're merged into one identity, or to one concept, one neutral being. You can call this the Tao, God, Source, Prime Creator. But this is a objective power beyond label of good, evil, right, wrong, high, low. So it just is. It exists. And this thing that exists gets to view all of creation. And the parts of creation that are capable of seeing polarities best are us humans. That's our gift, is we get to give meaning to things. Somebody cooks you a meal, you get to say that that's a wonderful meal, or impart from that the love that was put into it, like in a home-cooked meal from your mom or fresh baked bread from a neighbor. We impart meaning upon these things, and that creates a story. So polarity has a lot to do with the stories that we tell ourselves and we tell each other. The hero's journey, for example. At home is kind of a negatively charged place, we can say. There's not a whole lot of things that can go wrong at home. Let me start over with that. At home, you are able to do things incorrectly. Like, you're safe in doing that. You get to practice the piano and mess up on that one song 100 times as you're learning it. We could say the lightness or the projection, the emission, the goodness of playing piano would be on the stage or the show as you give that to someone else. So our homes in general are kind of playgrounds for us to explore the things that we want to present or to give to others at a later date. That same neighbor who had baked you bread, perhaps, that wasn't their first time baking bread. So they learned that at their home, their grandma's home, or the home of their mother. And they spent time practicing making that. And we can say, in general, those areas are negatively charged because they allow us to explore the lightness, the goodness, the white, without any pressure on outcome, or we can say very little pressure, as much pressure as you want to put on yourself. And the flip side of that, again, is the concert. It is the stage. It is the presentation. It is the boardroom speech. It's in part what I'm doing right now and sharing this message. So now that we have kind of a base to play with these a little bit, let's explore some of the ways that we can get caught up in loops or behaviors and patterns that can get a little sticky, we'll say. So one that I spent a lot of time doing, and I didn't realize that I was doing. Let's go back one step. So the law of attraction is actually, this is kind of where this comes into place, is dealing with polarities. So in knowing what is good and what is wrong for you, and this is going to be subjective for every person. So every person is going to have their right and their wrong based off of experience and what is right and wrong for them. So from that, you get to explore rightness and wrongness as a way to explore more rightness. And here's a way to look at it. The person who follows the law and the person who breaks the law are both followers of the law. One follows the law because they think that's the thing to do, it's wise, any number of reasons. It's what their parents taught them to do. It's the expectation of society. And in breaking the law, it is still following the law, because in order to break it, you must know what the law is. So if I'm rebelling against my parents for the sake of rebelling against my parents, I must know the law of my house. It must be known. And in knowing it, I am following it. So once you have knowledge in you, you can't destroy it. It can't be gone. Like the law of the universe is the law of the universe, or the law of the land, or the law of your house. So what that ties into our daily doings is in tuning into the things that we don't want to do. We can say, I don't want to eat desserts anymore. We'll say it as a negative statement, a negation. I don't want apple pie. It's this idea of someone coming up to you and saying, hey, don't think of pink elephants. So immediately you're going to think of pink elephants. That's what the brain does. That's what we do. You think of pink elephant, and then you go, don't think of pink elephant. So really the assignment there is to think of all of creation except a pink elephant. And we'll get caught in these loops where we have a behavior or a pattern that we don't like. For example, like drinking. I have an unhealthy relationship with alcohol or cigarettes or something of that nature. I don't want to do it. I quit. I'm not smoking anymore. And so what we're doing in our mind is we are creating this vision of us smoking and then simply saying no. So we're spending a lot of energy in the creation of the vision of us smoking or us drinking, of us doing that thing, and then not doing it. So it's a lot of energy spent in an area of the thing that you don't want to do, and the habit that you no longer want to partake in. And if you're having a problem with that, or you keep on repeating that, we'll say, you will keep coming back to it because you have created or spent so much energy in the creation of that vision, and then are saying no. And that's great for your ability and willpower, but you will spend so much of your time saying no to a vision that you created. So in the realm of polarity, we'll talk about attraction. We know what it is that we don't want. It's that habit, the drinking, the smoking, whatever that thing is, overeating, whatever it is that you feel that needs growth, self-judgment, doubt, fear, all of those beautiful lessons in life that we get to overcome, whatever that thing is for you, and saying not that, that's great. Then we want to go to the opposition of the thing. So let's create a vision of the thing that we want to do. So we're not spending our energy not doing something. We're spending our energy thinking about doing something, being somewhere, that thing that it is that we want. So especially for something like an oral fixation or habit that involves an oral fixation like smoking, that's why it's very effective to have mints or things of that nature to replace the habit. So instead of saying, no, not smoking, you're saying, mints are good for me, or something like that. This is a habit of bringing something to my mouth, drinking more water, perhaps. So your body is used to this habit of moving your hand to your mouth. And you spend a lot of time of charging that habit with, we could say, a negative impulse. And we can say that because you don't want to do that habit anymore. You want to change it. You want to move on. So we start bringing in positive things, or things that you would label as positive. In general, most people think drinking water is great. So let's do that. Let's eat lighter foods, or spend more time chewing our food and appreciating the moments when we are using our mouths for things that are related to the wall fixation. So we bring about the things that we do want, the future that we can have, we can taste, we can touch, in meaningful ways, and spend our energy there. The not there should just be that. That is the amount of energy spent. Oh, not that. This. This is what I want. This is that. And the more that we tune into that, that will help harness and focus our desires to bring about the things, the people, the situations, the experiences that fill us with joy, that give life beauty and beyond. Thank you so much for listening today. There will be more like this in the future. I am very grateful for the path that life has led and the lessons I've learned with Polarity. If there are more questions or thoughts about this, I can answer specifically if you leave a comment. Have a good one.